Hey guys, Janine Deramo here, Midlife Transformational Coach. Welcome back to a new episode of Peace and Plenty in 20. I wanted to do something a little fun today because there's just so much heaviness and darkness and crappiness in the world right now and on social media and on all media. So I have not done a Q&A episode since the summer, I believe, or maybe even the spring. So I wanted to do that again. I pulled some of the questions from then. I have some new questions, and this is a totally off-the-cuff, authentic experience because I had my assistant write the questions on cue cards, so I actually don't even know what I'm getting. So you're going to be seeing me answer them in real time without ever having seen them before. So should I do a little shuffle? Shuffle them up. Okay. All right. So first question is, because I do believe in letting God and the universe pick for me. So let's see what they got for me first today. What is one thing you've learned from each of your daughters? Do their ages play a factor in that? Wow. Okay. It's a good one, and it's a good one to start with. Okay. So I'm going to answer in the reverse. I will say, yes, I do think age plays a factor in this because obviously with more life experience, you learn more, you have more interactions with people, you have more experience in the world, you learn different things at different parts of your journey. So, okay, one thing I've learned from each of your daughters. So I'm going to, should I go oldest to youngest or youngest to oldest? Youngest to oldest? Okay. So youngest, Ella. Ella is currently 15. And I would say something that I have learned from her is to be steady. And what I mean by that is there are lots of things, whether it's in school, with sports, with relationships, that would easily rattle me. Like I would get super emotional and reactive. And she kind of takes it all with a grain of salt. She kind of stays in this very steady place. Like she almost like is able to like see and weigh out all the sides of something and just stay very kind of practical and pragmatic, where I literally wish I had that skill, and it's difficult. I've a neurodiverse brain, and so I know emotional regulation is a challenge for me. So that's something that I really admire about her. Caitlin, I would say that girl trusts her intuition. She trusts her gut. She knows when something's not right. She can make certain decisions. Some decisions maybe, she does have to weigh out more, but at 18, she's an adult now, I will say she really knows how to trust her gut. Like she is often like, it's a yes, it's a no. I'm no longer doing this. I'm done with this. I want to do this. So I will say that's something I've learned from her. Ava, almost 21. She was our first child. So I'm going to say I've learned a lot just because when you experience being a parent for the first time, you have to, like, you literally just absolutely learn on the job. There is no handbook. There is no script for this. So I've learned a lot from her. If I had to pull out, because it said, what is one thing? So if I had to pull out one thing, I would say resilience. So no matter what she has struggled with, no matter what she has gone through, experienced, she always bounces back. And I'm not going to say that was easy at the beginning, but it's been really a blessing to see her grow and evolve. And even when things are like really shitty, remind me, I got to put the explicit thing in now. Even when things are really bad, it's like she's developed this muscle to be able to bounce back from it. And every time be a little stronger, like come back, but be ahead of the game a little bit, if that makes sense. And that is something that I think is such an important lesson for anyone in life. I mean, there are a lot of adults that can't bounce back. So I would say that that's a very important thing that I've learned from her. All right, let's see what we got next. The best piece of advice you have for anyone listening, or the best advice you've heard lately. So actually, last week in my class, so for those of you that don't know, I'm currently back in school for another certification. I am getting certified to be a ADHD / executive functioning coach. And it has been, even my coursework and my classes, they are online, but they're so interactive. And I learned something last week. We do breakout rooms when we talk about different topics. And we've been talking a lot about values. And the timing of me taking these classes is so perfect, by the way. Now, this is a little bit of a tangent, but it's important because talking about values and like knowing your priorities is the first pillar of my coaching program. So it's just so perfect for me. But anyway, I was in a breakout room and Andres was his name. I'm going to give him a little shout out. He was sharing, we were talking about our values, and a lot of us are one of our values is spending time with our family and our children. And the thing he pointed out was that being present is very different from occupying the same space as someone. And that really hit me because we could be sitting on the couch all in the same room, and you could say that that's spending time with your family and being present. But if you're somewhere else, if you're doing work, if you're preoccupied, that's not us being present with each other. That's literally us just occupying the same room or being in the same space together at the same time. So that to me was very eye-opening. And it's something you have to intentionally think about, right? Like if you're saying it's important to be there and be present, you need to just be focusing on those people and those conversations and not anything else, because then you're not really present. So that was a great piece of advice. Thank you, Andres from ADCA. All right. Where are you on your GLP-1 journey? What do you believe are the ups and downsides of it? Wow, that's a great question. Okay, here we go. This is still a tough one for me. So I am still being prescribed tirzepatide, which is the name brand is Zepbound. I had settled at 7.5 milligrams, which is still on the lower side, but I'm just going to be totally honest. I don't love taking it. I know there's a lot of advantages to it. I'm also aware there are some risks, but my medical team, my women's health team, I trust in, I do my research, and there are a lot of benefits. However, for me personally, it really does slow down my digestion, and I'm someone that kind of struggles with that to begin with, and I just don't love that, dealing with that. I don't love that side effect. And to be honest, I also, as you know, I'm an intuitive eating counselor. I really do believe in trusting your intuition. So for me, and I'm answering this right now like as for me, because I know for other people have a totally different experience. So I do want to say, I'm answering this question about my journey, and then I'll talk a little bit more about the ups and downs. So going back to that, for me, in my journey, my ultimate goal, my ultimate desire is to be able to trust my intuition, know my hunger, know my fullness, and also rely upon nourishing myself in a way that is focused on eating real, whole, seasonal, fresh foods as much as possible. So that's kind of my goal. And listen, I had a significant amount of weight to lose in terms of cardiac risks, heart health, cholesterol. And so the GLP-1s definitely did help me get there. But for me personally, I'm at the point in my journey where I am kind of playing around with my nutrition, my exercise, and seeing what this next part of the journey looks like for me. So I'm going to have to say, stay tuned for me. Somebody asked me recently how much weight I've lost, and the honest answer is I don't know. I know my clothes fit better. I know I've, had to give away clothes that are too big and get some new clothes. So that's all I can say. I have a very, very triggering relationship with the scale, starting from, heard me talk about this, starting from like 5th grade. And then the main one that sticks out is freshman year of high school, where we were all in the gym and literally they weighed you and then announced, like shouted it out loud. Traumatizing. So since then, up until about 5 years ago, I would say about 5 years ago was my final breakup with the scale. I don't necessarily, for me, it's just too triggering. So in terms of weight loss, I don't know the amount. Judith, a little note for you. Obviously, I'm kind of fumbling here, so work your magic. Going back to what do you believe are the ups and downsides of it? So again, I think it's a life-changing medication for many people that have struggled for their entire lives. The downsides are, I personally don't believe it's a type of therapy to use if you're looking to drop 10 pounds. And I think it's a very customized situation. And I think everybody needs to make the best decision I can't give a blanket answer. And I think that's true of most areas of life. I think everyone has to trust their intuition, trust their medical team. And if you don't, do your research, reach out to someone like me. I'll help you tell you where to go for reputable sources. You need to really be savvy about that. But I think it's important to kind of gather all your information, gather your research, and that's your own personal data too, and to know yourself and your body. I will say for the GLP-1s, I think it's extremely important to get a DEXA scan or know your you have to really pay attention to the foundational, like your bones and your muscle mass. And if you are going to consider GLP-1s, it's very important that your nutrition is on point, especially protein, because that's the first thing as you start to lose weight because you're not as hungry. You're going to drop muscle quickly. And in midlife, that is the last thing that we want to happen. So I would stress that. And, I also think that the weight loss piece is great, but in terms, if we're thinking about at midlife, if we're thinking about longevity, I would hope people are also thinking about strength training, walking, just moving your body, and just being sensible about it. And again, that's something to talk to a trusted practitioner about. All right, enough about that because I could go on for a long time. I need a sip of water. All right, we're good. Hey. All right. Next question. Are you still an affiliate with Unique? What are your favorite makeup, hair, or self-care brands or products? Oh, this is a good one. So I still have affiliations with a number of companies. I don't actively market and sell just because my business is focused on coaching right now. And also, as I said, I'm in the midst of another certification. You can just, sorry. Let's try that again. Because I don't know where I stopped. All right, next question. Are you still an affiliate with Unique? What are your favorite makeup, hair, or self-care brands or products? Love this question. So I am still affiliated with a number of companies. I don't actively sell or market because I'm focused on my coaching business. However, I have stayed an affiliate with, yes, Unique, because I use a lot of their makeup still. I do use Monate for my hair. For my skincare, it's now called Counter. It was Beauty Counter. I used Beauty Counter for years. I think this is the one I'm the most passionate about because I do believe it has truly made a difference in my skin. And people ask me all the time. So Beauty Counter has been around, I'd have to check the date. Greg Renfrew is the founder. And what I loved about Beauty Counter when I found it, probably 10, 15 years ago, it has to be. I'll have somebody fact check that. I'll put it in the show notes. She developed a skincare line that was following the same EU standards, so the same standards that they follow in Europe, meaning there are so many ingredients that she refused to put into skincare. She went to DC, she lobbied, for healthier products in the United States, and her products are amazing. And then I don't remember the date, a few years ago, Greg sold the company and it took a turn for the worse. She wound up buying the company back and worked, I'm going to say it was like a year and a half, and is still working on it to get the products back in her hands. She rebranded it and it's back. It's now called Counter Beauty, but that is my skincare line that I use. Are there other products that I use aside from, Unique and Monate and makeup and stuff like that? Yes, absolutely. What do I use? Yeah. Oh, I could tell you my favorite hairspray is actually not Monate. My favorite hairspray is Bumble and Bumble. It's like the blue and purple can. I forget what it's called. I'll put it in the show notes though. That is my favorite hairspray. What else do I use? My skincare, I'm trying to go through my routine in my head. So my skincare is Beauty Counter or Counter now. I do use the clean skin towels, the disposable ones. What else do I use on my skin? I use the Unique tanning drops, but those are discontinued. I used Uncommon James. She has a moisturizer that I like, and she also has bronzing drops as well. And I like those because you can mix them with your moisturizer, or you can just put them on like before you do your makeup. What else do I use? My favorite perfume. There's a couple of Jo Malone scents that I love. Wood Sage and Sea Salt is my go-to. I've been wearing Gucci, is it Flora? I don't remember what is it. It's the black, no, that's the pink bottle. It's the black bottle. I can't remember the name of it right now. And then I also love Wilhelm put out, it's called Sparkling Joe. It's named after Josephine Baker. That has been a top favorite. And then since I was in France at the beginning of the fall and then in Paris, I do have a couple of perfumes from, the name escapes me. What's the place? What's the French perfumery? I don't know. You can cut that part because I don't remember the name of it. Anyway. Anything else? Makeup, hair, skin.
Just anything you really like, but I feel like you covered it.
Oh, I know what I love. My Dyson. So it's an investment, but I got mine 2 years ago. I had to look it up recently because when we were in London and we went to the Dyson section, they said it is automatically under warranty for 2 years, which I thought was amazing because all of a sudden, a couple weeks ago, it just stopped working. So I dry my hair with it. I curl my hair with it. It's an amazing product. It has cut down on my prep getting ready time. Again, I would watch right now for specials because I got it 2 years ago and it was like $200 off. So anyway, just brought it there's a Dyson store. They have them all over. There's one here in Bergen County in Paramus. They replaced the engine, no cost. So it's a great product. Yes, it's an investment, but it's worth the investment in terms of your time. So it's like I can just use that as opposed to, sometimes I still use my hair dryer and curling iron, but I love the Dyson. Is it the Dyson Airwrap? What's it called? Dyson Airwrap. Yeah. Okay. I'm looking for simple ways to give back this season. Do you have any ideas or things you are doing? So I do. So first of all, in my 12 days of holiday peace gift guide, I list a ton of ways that you can give back this season. So I can put a link to I'll pull that section of it because it's for sale as an entire guide. But as a listener, I will pull that one section for you. There is so for example, our church does collection for ShopRite cards as well as gifts. So you could go to your local church, anything in your local community, you should easily be able to find ways to do that. Something that I have done in the past and done more recently is gotten involved with a organization called His Helping Hands. They go to Patterson every Friday night and hand out meals. So we're doing it this week. We're going to make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. We make about 70 to 80 of them. And then there's also a hot meal. So different people volunteer and bring the hot meals. Then people we went through our closets. We're bringing sweatshirts and blankets because it's freezing. Last week or 2 weeks ago when I did it was freezing. And so that's a great organization. To be honest, all you have to do is ask around. You can ask me in terms of if that's something you're interested in. I would say that there's no shortage of ways to help people. And even just within your community on your street, are there elderly people that you know live alone? Are there people that you know just might be in need of help? And it might feel awkward sometimes, but literally just ask, or is there something I can do for you? And I think it's important too that we remember, I love this question. I think it's important that we remember this all year long, not just at the holidays. Obviously it's important at the holidays, especially when it gets cold, in terms of whether it's weather related or, I think of people just not having heat or not having someone to help them clear their sidewalk, things like that. So I do think this time of year is a great time to give back, but I think it's something important to keep in mind all year through, and get your kids involved too, because I think for me, going back to talking about values, for me, that's something that's super important to model for our younger generation, because they're the ones that are coming up behind us and going to be in charge of the world. So let's model some of that giving back. Great question. Any exciting podcast episodes planned for the new year? Yes. I can't say too much because not all of them are solidified yet. I will say that I have one that I'm really excited for, which is I'm interviewing a renowned plastic surgeon. So I think that's going to be very interesting because we're going to find out what is legit, what are the trends versus the truth. So stay tuned for that. And there are, again, can't give too many details, but yes, I am planning some very exciting things for 2026. All right.
One more. You can choose your favorite.
Yeah. Why do your nails look like that? That's awesome. It's a legit question. This is called coming back from vacation and being busy and peeling off all of my gels. And to be honest, I just want to give them a break. I don't know. I do the gels because, to be honest, it's just practical in terms of being busy and washing dishes and not having them peel off, because when they look like this, I peel them. But I need a break, and it does feel good to let them breathe, even though it looks like crap. Sorry. Don't look at my hands. Just look up here. What is another thing? Oh, I did that. Okay. So let's do one more. What's one thing your viewers don't know about you? What should I pick?
Something interesting.
Okay, this is a really good question. What is something your viewers may not know about you? Could be about anything. So I feel like I'm pretty much an open book, but I don't think I've ever mentioned this. When I was 7 years old, I was paralyzed from the neck down. You've probably heard like on COVID commercials, and you may even know someone that has suffered from it, but Guillain-Barré syndrome. I was 7 years old. I had had the flu, and then all of a sudden I started getting weakness in my legs. I remember I kind of fell down. I remember laying on the couch, not being able to walk, very scary. And my parents rushing me to the pediatrician in Teaneck, and he did the, what do you call it, the reflex hammer. I had no reflexes. And he immediately called over to Columbia Presbyterian, the baby's hospital. It's where I was born, actually. Brought me right in and did a spinal tap. And sure enough, I had Guillain-Barré. The paralysis, so it starts from the feet. That's why my legs had started. And the paralysis moved all the way up, meaning I remember being in the hospital. I remember my scalp itching and I couldn't move to scratch my scalp. I can't imagine now as a parent how traumatizing this was for my parents. And I never realized actually that there was a level of trauma for me as well, because to fast forward through the story, I did, as paralyzed as I was for a bit of time, I actually was able to, so this was in October when I went into the hospital. I was in first grade. By Christmas time, I went home, I think, for Thanksgiving. And by Christmas time, I was able to walk to the Christmas tree with a walker. So that was like, I made a pretty fast recovery. Unfortunately and sadly, adults do not always make that type of recovery. It was because I was so young that I was able to bounce back like that. But my initial point being that it was the fact that I remember, because I remember, bits and pieces of my childhood, just like I think everybody does, but I definitely have a lot of memories from that time. I remember being in the hospital bed and it was dark and like watching the window to see like when the sun would come up, because I knew someone would be there, either my mom or my dad. So it wasn't until years later, probably when I was 40, when I had some anxiety around my own girls getting sick. And I think it was this idea, this belief, probably that I didn't even realize was a belief, that you could wake up one day and just not be able to walk. And that's kind of a traumatizing thing, and that I never really thought about much because it was subconscious and because I got better. But so that's a very interesting thing about me. And thank God, bounced back, kept right on track, went to second grade, and here we are. But just to circle back to that idea of resilience and how resilience humans can be both physically and spiritually and emotionally, I think is a great way to end this segment. Please join me next week. I will be back with a different topic, but I want to stay focused on the fact that we are coming to the end of the year. We have a new year coming up. I don't necessarily believe in like sweeping resolutions or like necessarily new year, new me. There's nothing wrong with that. But I do think it's important to just be intentional about what do you want to leave behind from this year. I also think it's important to celebrate your wins from this year. What do you want to take with you into 2026? So those are some ideas that I'll be talking around, and I'll also be talking more around this idea of habits and atomic habits, because James Clear just published his workbook. I'm so excited. I wish I had more time in my day to look at it, but I am planning in January a special group coaching around atomic habits. How do we start to make the changes we want to make, but in a sustainable way? Because if you've ever been through that whole January resolution thing, it doesn't necessarily work the way we want it to. The way it works is start implementing small habits, and in a way that will make it doable, sustainable, And for me, part of the reason I'm doing the group coaching is to help keep us accountable. So I mention that because it's going to be capped to keep it a positive and thorough and what's the word? Like, hold on, Judith. Productive. Like they're going to really get something out of it.
Fulfilling.
Yeah.
Fruitful.
Like deep. Like they get the full experience. Like,
Thorough.
all right, let me try it again. So keep an eye out for that because I am going to cap the participants in that coaching program because I really want it to be a very high touch point, hands-on, thorough experience that you can walk away with and say, wow, I'm finally making changes that I've wanted to make. That's all for today. Have a peaceful and plentiful day, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.